everybody, unexpectedly we took 2 weeks cruise on Holland America, and it was our first cruise after COVID. And we want to share with you our experience. What changes are now in the cruise industry, good and bad. In this video we are going to talk about embarkation, what's new, about food of course, how is service now after COVID and during COVID, entertainment, very important, shore excursions, what are changes they made, do you need to wear masks? We will show you our room, and something is new, isolation area and the portrait studio. And of course we will tell you, are we going to cruise again, or maybe we will stop doing it. As I mentioned, we chose the Holland America cruise line, a new ship, Rotterdam, relatively new ship, Rotterdam, and we went with this cruise line many times before COVID, probably, I don't know, 7-8 times, and of course we can compare what changes were made. We left our car on one of parking lots for Fort Lauderdale terminal. It's very convenient, you just pay for parking, get in the shuttle and go.
As I guess should be obvious to all of us, COVID has affected all aspects, it seems, of the cruise industry. And one of the places where it has affected the cruise industry is in the embarkation process, and it actually seems to have affected it in a positive way, for good. The embarkation process has improved, it seems to us. The reason why is that they do process you through the entry process much quicker, so that you don't sit around for a long time, hours sometimes, in large groups of people. That keeps interactions in such large groups down to a minimum, but it also has the effect of getting you on the ship quickly. They give you a slip of paper with a barcode on it. That barcode gets you onto the ship. You find your keys at your door when you arrive at the door, and the whole process is done very quickly and very smoothly. If you're looking for something bad in the embarkation process since COVID, I guess you would say that it's the requirement to take a test, but pretty much everybody should expect that. We took our test a day or two before at a drugstore, but you can also, I understand, even get it right at the dockside if you haven't taken your test in advance like you're supposed to.
And we decided to show you our room. Of course, the room doesn't depend on COVID. But anyway, maybe it will be interesting for you. The room was great, clean, and like I mentioned, the ship is new, and the room was very clean, looked new, sparkly, and even bigger than we used to see rooms with the balcony. Big TV, there were free movies. You can choose some good movies we watched a few times. Big shower. We used to that some ships have very tiny showers. You barely can turn in the shower. But here it was good. It's a closet, 2 towels for the beach, and 2 bathrobes. And the refrigerator, if you go on the shore and you will bring some soda or some other drinks, you can put inside. And the safe. Anyway, nothing is bad about the room. The room is great. And another interesting question, masks. What about masks? During embarkation and disembarkation, you have to wear mask. They remind you constantly. They give you if you don't have one. No, of course, understandable. They are not going to arrest you if you refuse to wear mask. In this case, I don't even want to say it is bad or good, pros or cons. Everybody decided for themselves if they want to wear mask all the time, if they decided it is protecting, okay, wear the mask or not. But everywhere you see masks recommended. Masks recommended. And by the way, something new, near the buffet area, we noticed the washing stations. You can wash hands before you go to eat. You don't have to go to the restroom. I think it is very convenient. And you see now, some people wear masks, some don't. And by the way, there is a captain of the ship. It is in the main restaurant, in the dining area. Again, the staff have to wear masks all the time. We did not see even one person of the member of the staff without masks. So again, good or bad, I don't know.
Morning.
Ready for breakfast?
Yes, it is a breakfast food.
One of our favorite places on any cruise ship has in the past been the theater, because the theater is where every night you get free entertainment, and some of it is actually pretty good. We've enjoyed it on many previous cruise ships, and we generally go about every night, but not on this cruise. Since COVID, undoubtedly because of cost cutting, this Holland America cruise had really inferior entertainment, so much so that I think we only went for just a very few minutes, maybe 10 or 15 minutes twice, and left both times and never went back. The problem is that the usual troupe of dancers and singers, who are very versatile and very capable and often very good, were reduced down to about 4 people. The productions were kind of pitiful by comparison with what we'd seen in the past, where in the past they've had really good comedians and jugglers and the like. On this cruise, there were 2 comedians that were frankly just not very funny, and in fact you could hear funnier just about anywhere else that you wanted to go and hear a comedian. In addition, even the lounges that you see when you walk through the ship, the entertainment was there wasn't that much of it, and the quality of it just wasn't that good. And I guess overall, the person responsible for all that sort of thing is a cruise director, and of course her budget was probably really cut because of COVID, but if so, you could tell it, and she didn't do much to make up for it. She was nowhere to be seen, and we heard very little from her, and overall, the entertainment just really, to put it bluntly, sucked.
And we were on a cruise 2 weeks, and second week the entertainment was the same like the first week.
Exactly the same, just repeated exactly the same. So if we hated it the first week, you could imagine what we thought about it the second week.
And something new on this ship, isolation areas. We have never seen any areas like that on the previous cruise before COVID. No, probably isolation areas for the COVID people who is tested positive and sick. We don't know, nobody told us. But on the 4th floor and on the 6th floor, we discovered areas like that. Maybe there are other areas, we don't know. But after 1 week, when we were supposed to, we were tested for COVID in order to stay for the second week, there was a rumor that some people were tested positive.
Of course, one of the biggest, most important aspects of any cruise is the food. The food in the buffet, the food in the specialty restaurants, the room service food, and so forth and so on. And here there's good news and bad news, but overall things have gone downhill since COVID. In the category of good news, you can say that the food quality is still good. It holds up to as good food as it was on previous Holland America cruises. Also in the good category, probably because of, well, no doubt because of COVID, the level of cleanliness and hygiene is way up, and you no longer have the opportunity as a passenger to touch the food in any way or the food utensils in any way that are being used commonly to serve everybody. All the food handling and all the putting on the plates is done by the staff themselves, and they're all wearing masks all of the time.
One thing that has been consistently good on this trip is red meat steaks. We've had steak on the menu somewhere at the buffet or the dining room almost every night, and I've had it I think 3 times, and each time was really, really good. So that's at least a pro.
So there are some good things about food on this cruise. However, there are more bad things than good things. And in particular, the selection of food has gone way down. In an obvious effort to cut cost, the cruise line simply doesn't have as many food stations, and it doesn't have as many different types of food as other cruises. And in fact, the food selection was noticeably worse on this cruise than any cruise we have ever taken.
I can tell that the food was the same every day, almost the same, day by day.
That's true. There was an awful lot of roasted chicken and so forth and so on. The selection problem, by the way, is true in both the buffet and the dining room. Now, another con of post-COVID cruising, something that isn't up to the previous standards, is the number of dishes and items that everywhere are additional price. Of course, this is not true in the buffet, but everywhere else, specialty restaurants, and even in the dining room, there are just a whole host of additional price items now, and everything is more expensive in those specialty restaurants than it used to be. They tend to be different prices now, and some of the prices are actually quite substantial in addition to your cruise ticket that you've already paid for. So there's good and bad, but overall, with the exception of quality, food on the cruise line has definitely deteriorated.
It is the dining area. On other ships, we used to go to this place every evening because of the food and service, but here we went only, I think, 3 times. The selection is very, very poor, like Ben said, and it is new. For some food you have to pay, and pay a lot. It's why we did not go.
In this restaurant think we're the darlings.
It happened that we chose this particular cruise because we were homeless. We sold our house in Washington State, and our closing on a new house in Florida was supposed to be in 3 weeks. So this cruise was for us as a hotel and food. But usually we choose the cruise because of ports of call. We want to see new interesting places, and very often we take shore excursions. There are a few ways to do it. You can get on the shore and take a shore excursion with local companies or with the cruise company. And there is a reason that it is better to take a shore excursion with the cruise company.
Yes.
No, if you are late from the shore excursion, if you are not with the cruise company, they might leave you on the shore. Or on the contrary, if the ship is late, the your tour will be postponed, and when you get off the ship, they will be waiting for you. Not the local tour companies, they are not going to wait for you. Of course, you can book any shore excursions before you get on the ship online, but we did not have time for this. We booked this cruise only 2 days before departure, and we decided to look at shore excursions on the ship for Jamaica. But it appeared that there was no availabilities almost, and we went to the shore excursion desk and wanted to look at the brochures. There were no brochures. They illuminated all paper. Probably it is good. You don't have to touch too much stuff and to spread germs. I think it is a good stuff. We were wondering when can we look at shore excursions, and there were 3 tables, like monitors. No, you're okay.
Oh, okay. And you can have a look at the tours, click on them, got the description, and that one's not available. Actually, that's a good one.
And when you're
This
not
one
open,
won't say, if it doesn't show a price or anything, it's not available. But for example, if we are looking at the bobsled description, and at the bottom it will say the duration, like
the
the
price.
activity level, the price.
so if it says the price, it's available.
Yes, but it could be 1 available, 2 or 10.
Understood.
So on the bedside, they have fewer shore excursions now, and they fill up very quickly. You don't have any other choice, just go on the shore and you are on your own. It is what we did. One other thing we liked on previous cruises very much, the portrait studio. They have a few photographers. You can take pictures in any places on the ship, professional pictures, in the dining area, on the deck, or on the shore, like here. And I remember we took many pictures on other cruises, and in the end, we tried to choose which ones we want to buy. It was actually fun. Almost every day we looked at other pictures of other passengers, because they had like a picture, the gallery picture, and it was really interesting, really fun. And here we decided to take a few our pictures as well. We were really excited to see our pictures tonight and maybe choose a few for our home. They have a new system how to find your own pictures that they took on the shore or on the ship. It's supposed to recognize your face because they did not take our room number. We tried, we couldn't even get to the face recognition part. We asked for help. I think one person, he couldn't do it, and we asked for help. A different person, he's trying to help us. Okay, we will see what might happen. Okay, Ben and I are trying to get our pictures taken and to see it. It is very difficult, more difficult than it was before, and the gentleman is trying to help us. And again, it's supposed to be easier than we used to before, but it is not easy. Even he can't figure it out.
Can you come with me?
Okay.
Can you come with me?
All right, let's exit this right here because this has got my name.
It says exit. You see, and it's supposed to be easier.
Now we're going to the second computer.
Second computer, just to see the pictures that we took. They took our pictures on the shore.
Only you are missing the photos from the last port, right?
Yes, but why is it so difficult?
Sometimes it's not recognize your face. Like if you have the glasses or
No, it did not recognize it. It did not try to recognize. Yes, but it did not try to recognize
No,
our
it really
face.
didn't that I saw. It didn't try to recognize.
It is how easy it is.
Is this worth it, honey?
No, it is not
You
worth
want to
it.
go on?
Let's see how long it will take. Like I said, we are not in a hurry, but it is getting already ridiculous. If we are going to, after we take our picture, we get so much trouble to look at it. I don't know. It's not worth it. We can take our own pictures. It was in the morning.
yeah, just a second.
No result found.
Okay.
No result.
Look, I'm getting older every minute. Let's go, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
The biggest area of change and actually deterioration of the experience that we saw on this cruise was in the area of service, and it happened a couple of different ways. One was just general disorganization, because as we learned from other passengers on the ship, actually 3 cruise ships had been combined down into one, both crew and passengers. The reason apparently was that they didn't have enough tickets sold for all 3 cruise ships, so they moved people from one cruise onto another and actually combined 3 cruise ships into one. They did that with staff too. They moved staff around a lot. In fact, we had different stewards at different times throughout the week. The result of all of this was that the service was disorganized. People kept changing their work positions. People were in positions who didn't really know how to do those jobs, and the whole thing just seemed very, very disorganized. Lots of changes, lots of hesitations, and so forth. But the other way in which service clearly deteriorated was that there just weren't as many staff per passenger as there had been on previous cruises. As a result, there were long lines for everything. And in addition to that, lots of things were left unattended. You would see less cleaning on the ship. You would see, for example, less maintenance of the buffet area. The dinner in the dining room was much inferior experience because the staff seemed to be really overworked and really disorganized, and there just weren't enough of them to provide good service. We saw that throughout the ship, and it caused a real deterioration of the experience. So, the cruise is over, and what's the conclusion? Is it worth it? Are we going to continue to cruise after COVID? Should you cruise after COVID? What's the deal? Well, Zena and I have talked about it a lot, and we think that cruising is still worth it. Not as good as it used to be, but it's still worth it. Just be careful which cruise. Make sure that you like the ports of call. I guess these are things that you should have done anyway, but it's still worth it. It's just not as good as it used to be. Frankly, we're going to be more picky in the future about our cruises, but we're going to continue, and you'll see us on cruise ships again. So bye for now.